Hello everyone, welcome back to the lecture series. So in this video, we will be starting with memorials. In this video, I'll give you a complete understanding of how should you go about drafting a memorial, the details you will have to keep in mind, the structure that you will have to follow, uh, the procedure that you can adopt, and the approach that you should have in your mind. So the guidelines as to what the formatting and the pattern and the subject matter of the mood court is going to be, the structuring of the mood court is very subjective. It varies from different mood courts to mood courts. International mood courts have a very different structuring. National have a very different structuring. It's a smaller one. They can be a little flexible with structuring, but it's something that is to be given a lot of importance, because more or less most of the organizations that are conducting moot courts are very particular about it. So for start, I'll give you a basic understanding that what my memorial structuring guidelines were. So it is in every moot court. Every team has to make a memorial for both the sides of the parties, applicant, respondent, plaintiff, defendant, whatever word you're using, दोनों साइड का बनाना होता है. So जो so my vote code was virtual. I had to give a word format. I had to mail them the my memorials in word format, but काफी बार they also ask you to give the mood code memorial in the PDF format, so that it's non-editable. Also, word format, PDF format, that is something that you'll have to keep in mind. उसके बाद deadlines is something that you'll have to keep in mind. एंड मूड कोड के अलावा नो अदर मूड कोड मेमोरियल जब एक बार सबमिट हो जाता है, यू कांट ask them to send it back to you, or you need to make some amendments and then you send it back to them. So this is not how it works. You have once sent it, it's full and final. Okay, so moving on. So the memorial have to be submitted on a A4 type paper, printed on one side, and must contain these are the list of contents that has to be included in my specifically for my moot court. So a lot of times index of authorities कुछ moot court skip कर देते हैं, अब नहीं करते हैं, पहले कई सारे कर देते थे. So that is something that you will have to keep in mind. उसके बाद टेबल ऑफ कंटेंट्स, इंडेक्स ऑफ अथॉरिटी, स्टेटमेंट्स ऑफ jurisdiction, स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फैक्ट्स, स्टेटमेंट ऑफ इशू, समरी ऑफ आर्गुमेंट्स, आर्गुमेंट एडवांस एंड प्रेयर. ये सारी चीज़ें विल बी डीलिंग ईच एंड एवरीथिंग इन वेरी वेरी डिटेल. दिस इज जस्ट टू गिव यू एन अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि क्या क्या कंटेंट्स होते हैं ये सारी. सो कई बार ऐसा होता है कि मूड कोर्ट्स आपको लिमिट ऑफ नंबर पेजेस भी दे देते हैं कि statement of facts, for example, has to be in 2 page or 1 page. So that is something that you'll have to adhere to. You'll have to concede to. There's not much scope for asking them to change their rules and regulations. Uske baad font size and everything. For reference, I'll actually be showing you a lot of memorials. So this is the memorial that I drafted for my competition. Other than that, we'll also be referring to, this is the winning memorial for the KK Luthra International Moot Court Competition, and this is a memorial that was available on the National University Odisha website. Both of these memorials are publicly accessible. There is no infringement of copyright. I'm not using them for any purposes. I'm giving them full credit that these are not mine, and these are completely being used here for specifically and exclusively for references purpose. Uh, just to take help of. Even you can just simply Google moot court memorial PDFs and these will pop up, and you can always use them as a base because these anyways are very very well drafted. Moving on, font 12 size होना चाहिए, footnoting 10 size होनी चाहिए, single spacing होनी चाहिए, 1 inch margin होना चाहिए. These are the things that you'll have to make sure while you are drafting your memorial on Word. The pages of memorial must be numbered except the cover page. The page numbering should be mentioned in bottom center of the page, just so you can see. All the page numbering has to be clearly done. That is very important. You must be wondering कि ये blue क्यों है और ये red क्यों है. That I'll explain it to you. Defendant के side का memorial is always red in color. It's everywhere. And memorial plaintiff के side का, appellant के side का memorial is always, the front page is always blue in color. ये आप यहाँ भी देखेंगे. uh, so just so you can see, this is red in color, this is no color because maybe they have removed it just to keep confidentiality or anything. Or अगर if you do have the problem, you can always understand कि किस side का memorial है, उसी के favor में arguments होंगी. Moving on, footnoting का style follow करना is very important. Blue Book 12th edition, a uniform system of citation should be followed and written in the written submissions throughout. So a lot of times people don't give a lot of importance to footnoting, but as law students, you must understand, you have to be clearly aware and make the listener or the judge or the jury, whoever you are presenting your submissions to, be it the court, be it a moot court or a real life court, you will have to be very clear on your referencing. That is very important, because you really never know, you quote a factual fact or you quote some theory and the judge might come up with a question, and if you're not clear of the reference, you don't trust the reliability of the website or the document or anything you're referring to, it can lead to a very big problem. Moving on, uh, covers must be placed on brief as follows: applicant, plaintiff, appellant, blue color front page, respondent, red color. I've already told you this. The cover page of the memorial must state the cause, the identity of the sites, applicant, respondent, the team code allotted at the time of registration. So as you can see, we have very clearly mentioned here uh, our team code in the competition, VITM 106. You will also get a unique team code. Everyone is allotted one, and from whose side the memorial is being submitted. Memorial on behalf of the applicant. Same यहाँ पर भी Moot team number and memorial on the behalf of the respondent. So party खुद प्रेजेंट नहीं करती है मेमोरियल और सबमिशन रियल कोर्ट में भी, इट इज ऑलवेज डन थ्रू एन एडवोकेट. सो यहाँ पर स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन कर दिया जाता है काउंसिलिंग अपीयरिंग ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ द रिस्पोंडेंट. और सारी जो अंदर कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस, सारी जो अंदर बातें होती हैं, ऑल द पैरेलल्स इज फर्स्ट पर्सन इन नेचर, so that there is no confusion that counsel is clearly given the power and he is representing the party in metaphorical sense, not literally, but representing the party. Moving on, the parties are advised not to reveal their respective personal identities or the identity of their institution anywhere in the memorials. Violation of this norm shall result in penalty. So we are not allowed to mention it anywhere कि हम किस कोर्ट की तरफ से. यहाँ पर भी it's only here you can see faculty of Jamia Millia Islamia, but अंदर you will not find anywhere कि कॉलेज का नाम कहीं भी mentioned हो. This is not completely allowed. You must understand for what reasons. Prejudice हो जाता है कि अरे these are from these college, this is a college that I was an alma mater of, so why not just. This internal prejudice is always persistent, so it's better that we don't resort to such means, because this can outrightly mean complete disqualification. They'll not even argue or let you know that what just happened. हमारी डेडलाइन ये थी. मूविंग ऑन, प्लीज स्ट्रिक्टली आप मेक श्योर करें कि आप डेडलाइंस को ज़रूर मैच करें. दैट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज इट डज लीव एन नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट अपॉन द टीम, बिकॉज द जजेस ऑल्सो नो कि इन्होंने डेडलाइन मीट करी है कि नहीं करी है. ओके, मूविंग ऑन. सो नेम ऑफ द कॉम्पिटिशन, टीम कोड, किसके फ्रंट पे किस कोर्ट के सामने द केस इज बीइंग प्रेजेंटेड. इट इज गोइंग टू बी डिफरेंट from moot court to moot court. So mine was for in front of the international Court of Justice, but this is in front of the High Court of Ergwon, and this was in front of the Supreme Court of India. So you will have to make sure that you go through the entire memorial very thoroughly to understand कि किस court के सामने आप present कर रहे हो. Okay, moving on. Uh, Here you can see the parties, both the parties' name. This is the format that is ideally being followed, but it depends. It completely depends. Uh, you can also write it like this, or you can write it. The structuring can be a little different. Your front page has to look a little pleasing to the eyes. It should not feel like a lot of text. जैसे कि as you can see इन लोगों ने यहाँ पर SLP भी SLP किस एक्ट के अंदर सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सामने प्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं. इट्स एन एसएलपी, इट्स अ स्पेशल लीव पिटिशन व्हिच इज आर्टिकल 136 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया. उसके अंडर प्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं, बट बाकियों में नहीं है. तो दैट डज नॉट मीन कि सब में होता है, सब में नहीं होता है. इट कम्प्लीटली डिपेंड्स ऑन यू. You just have to structure it in a way that it looks pleasing, that it looks easy for the uh, a judge to refer to, for the judge to read everything through. Both the parties versus लिखना is very important. Again, memorial किसके behalf पे, and counsels appearing on behalf of the applicant. Moving on. Contents, we'll start with the contents. Let's refer to more moot court memorials. So इसमें आप सोच रहे होंगे कि इतनी सारी parties कैसी हैं. There are a lot of following petitions that are being filed in the court moot memorial में. ऐसा ही हुआ होगा, तभी appeal number 10, 11, 12, 13, as you can see, these are appeals that are following. Okay, so here as you can see, table of authorities. What is table of authorities? Table of authorities is basically the references that you have chosen. जैसा मैंने आपको बताया था index of authorities होता है ना, वैसे ही table of authorities होता है. जैसे देखिए index of authorities, वैसे ही table of authorities होता है. There is no difference. Here you can see table of authorities, the statutes they have referred to, all structured in a very clean format. The foreign legislations they have structured, the cases that is being cited, they have actually drafted the moot court memorial in a very very structured manner. Moving on. Yeah, so moving on to statement of fact. Statement of fact is basically जो भी आप फैक्ट लिख रहे हो उसको कंसाइज मैनर में एप्लीकेंट की तरफ से लिख रहे हो, तो एप्लीकेंट के फेवर में सारे स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फैक्ट्स को ड्रॉ करके यू हैव टू फ्रेम इट इन दैट मैनर. और अगर डिफेंडेंट के साइड में कर रहे हो तो उस हिसाब से यू विल हैव टू ड्राफ्ट एवरीथिंग. यू विल हैव टू मेक श्योर कि द स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फैक्ट्स लुक convincing and are written in a manner which, just a second. So you'll have to make sure that the statement of facts are written in a manner which is when the judge is reading, or maybe if you're citing, explaining the statement of facts, that looks very convincing from the party that you're representing the case from. That is to be noted very clearly. Just for example, I'll show you my statement of facts. स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फैक्ट्स यहाँ देख लीजिए. जैसे सीक्वेंस सबका डिफरेंट हो सकता है. स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फैक्ट्स पहले आ सकता है, स्टेटमेंट ऑफ जुरिसडिक्शन बाद में आ सकता है. जिस स्ट्रक्चर में उन्होंने कहा है आप उसी स्ट्रक्चर में करिए. देखिए बैकग्राउंड आई हैव मेंशन्ड वेरी ब्रीफली, आई हैव मेंशन्ड एवरीथिंग. डिस्प्यूट के बारे में आपको पता है. इफ यू वांट टू रीड इट थ्रू you can. I'll zoom the screen appropriately for you to take a screenshot or maybe read it clearly so that you can understand it a little clearly. I've only mentioned those facts. Those facts are drawn there, those facts are molded in such a manner, not completely molded, you can't play around with the facts key, but you'll have to make it a little dramatic and holding for the reader to understand. Okay, statement of, let's move on to statement of jurisdiction. Statement of jurisdiction, I've explained it to you earlier also. Uh, it's basically the authority under which you are approaching the court. Uh, just have a quick look at it. Where did it go? Where have they mentioned the statement of jurisdiction? Okay, so they have not mentioned the statement of jurisdiction, which is a little weird, but ideally they do. Uh, let's look at the other. इसमें definitely होगा. List of abbreviations, index of authorities. Yeah, here it is. So Article 136 of the Constitution of India के अंदर the count. So the language, if you want, you can also refer to this, but it's very subjective. You can use what feels right to you, but it has to be formal in nature. It has to be legal in nature. You can't use short forms or a runny language because it has to be presentable. You can actually refer to a lot of real drafts. Everything is available on Supreme Court, High Court website. You can always refer to the real pleadings. How do senior advocates go about structuring their drafts, and how what sort of language they are using. So I'll just read it out to you. The Council for the Respondent National Insurance Corporation hereby humbly submit to this honorable court jurisdiction under Article 136 of the Constitution of India. The respondent would like to humbly submit that this SLP for appeal is not maintainable. Okay, कुछ अंदर jurisdiction का मामला चल रहा होगा. That is why they have mentioned it. I'll just show you mine. Index of Authority, Statement of Jurisdiction, on behalf of the State of United Province and State of Kima, in accordance with Article 40, Clause 1 of the Statute of the International Court of Justice, we have the honor to transmit to you an original of this special agreement for the submission of submission to the International Court of Justice of the differences between applicant and the respondent concerning the arrest of United Province sailors by Kima Sea, signed in Hague. सो जो अग्रीमेंट साइन हुआ था ना, मैंने आपको डिस्प्यूट में बताया था पीस मेंटेनेंस का, वो वायलेट हुआ है. अब वो तो ज्यूरिसडिक्शन डायरेक्टली आर्टिकल 40 क्लॉज 1 इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस के अंडर ही आता है ऑफ द यूएन क्लॉज. आर्टिकल 41 क्लॉज 40 क्लॉज 1 ऑफ द यूएन क्लॉज. मूविंग ऑन. इसमें अच्छा आपने एक और चीज देखी होगी, लिस्ट ऑफ एब्रीवेशंस. सो लिस्ट ऑफ एब्रीवेशंस कुछ नहीं होता है बेसिकली. जो सारे शॉर्ट फॉर्म्स आप यूज कर रहे होते हो ना पूरे मेमोरियल को ड्राफ्ट करते हुए, बिकॉज यू कांट पॉसिबली बार बार राइट आईपीसी, इंडियन पीनल कोड, बार बार नहीं लिख सकते. तो यू एंड विच so memories are very extensive in nature, they're very long, so it can be very tedious to write everything down. So यहाँ list of abbreviations दे दी जाती है कि क्या क्या शॉर्ट फॉर्म्स आपने यूज करें. फॉर एग्जांपल बॉम्बे साइटेशंस पे यूज हुआ होगा कैलकटा कंपनी, ऑनरेबल, लिमिटेड, हाई कोर्ट, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. बट इट कम्प्लीटली डिपेंड्स. मतलब मोर और लेस सबको पता ही होता है कि एस सी सी का मतलब, एस सी आर का मतलब क्या होता है. दे आर सिटिंग एट अ पोजिशन वेयर दे आर जजिंग यू, बट इट्स ideal to follow what the instructions have asked you. Okay, uh, moving on. Next in line we have, so tables of contents यही है. Index of authority, statement of jurisdiction, statement of facts, statement of issues. Now we'll statement of facts तक हो गया. Statement of issues we'll now be considering. This sequence can confuse मत होइएगा. This sequence has to be followed in accordance to the instructions that has been provided to you in your instructions guide, which you will receive after or before registrations. So don't get confused. Statement of facts तक हो गया. Statements of issues पर आते हैं. स्टेटमेंट्स ऑफ इश्यूज के अंदर आप सब क्लॉजेस बना सकते हो। फॉर एग्जांपल अगर हम लोग इनका ड्राफ्ट देखेंगे ना, तो इन्होंने पॉइंट सब क्लॉजेस को भी सारे बहुत सारे क्लॉजेस दे रखे हैं स्टेटमेंट्स ऑफ इशू सेक्शन में। इफ वी सी सी ये देखिए रिटन सबमिशन स्टेटमेंट, ये रिटन सबमिशन स्टेटमेंट्स ऑफ इशू ही होता है। समरी ऑफ आर्ग्यूमेंट्स भी इन्होंने दे रखी है, इश्यूज रेज भी अलग से दे रखे हैं। सो इश्यूज इन्होंने ऐसे दे रखे हैं, सबका एक एक बेसिक जो समराइज्ड सबसे क्रक्स में पूरा मैटर समझा दे। अगर जज को देखना है कि व्हाट इज दैट वन थिंग दैट आई वुड रियली वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड, मेरे केस में अगर आप देख लें कि वेदर यूपी यूनाइटेड प्रोविंस वॉरशिप वायलेटेड कीमा की सॉवरेनिटी और नॉट, तो जज ढूंढता नहीं फिरेगा कि स्टेटमेंट वन इशू वन में है, टू में है, थ्री में है, थ्री के वन टू में है, कहाँ है। लेकिन ऑलवेज रिवर सेवन सेवन में ही कहीं ना कहीं दिस माइट हैव डेफिनेटली बिन mentioned. So it makes it easier for the judge to understand, and also when you're presenting your oral arguments, it's easier for you to ask the judge to refer to this particular page number, because they have your hard copies of your memorials. Every judge has it, so you don't have to worry about them being lost. So structuring करना अच्छे से is very very important. देखिए इशू वन, इशू टू, इशू थ्री, इशू फोर, जैसे कि हमारे मेमोरियल में इन्होंने इश्यूज पहले ही डिफाइन कर दिए थे, मैंने आपको दिखाया था ना, यू मस्ट रिमेम्बर। ये देखिए, बट ये लिमिटेड नहीं है, इसके अलावा भी आप इश्यूज मेंशन कर सकते हो, हम लोग ने भी करा था। ओके, सो इट्स ऑलवेज गुड टू मेंशन दैट। मूविंग ऑन, सो सब स्टेटमेंट ऑफ इश्यूज का मतलब, सॉरी सब ये स्टेटमेंट ऑफ इश्यूज का मतलब बेसिकली होता क्या है कि क्या है इश्यूज जिनको आप एक्चुअली में रेफर कर रहे हो, कौन कौन से इश्यूज हैं जिनको आप एक्चुअली में रेफर कर रहे हो, और इसको बहुत ही शॉर्ट तरीके से आप समरी ऑफ आर्ग्यूमेंट स्टेटमेंट्स ऑफ इश्यूज में समझा देते हो। ये देखिए स्टेटमेंट्स ऑफ इश्यूज क्या है, ये तीन इश्यूज हैं हमारे, और इन तीन इश्यूज को कि समरी में क्या पूरे में जो भी आर्ग्यूमेंट होगी, जो डिटेल्ड आर्ग्यूमेंट होगी, वो क्या होगी। अगर जज को पूरा समझना है कि क्या किस कौन कौन से बेसिस पे आप इशू नंबर वन आर्ग्यू कर रहे हो, तो वो सीधे समरी ऑफ आर्ग्यूमेंट्स में आएगा और ये पढ़ लेगा और उसको समझ में आ जाना चाहिए। दैट इज दैट इज समथिंग आई कैन नॉट एक्सप्लेन इट टू यू इन अ मोर प्रिसाइज वे, पर ये पढ़ के जज को समझ में आ जाना चाहिए कि क्या आपका बेस है। आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड इट कैन बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू फॉर यू टू एक्चुअली summarize everything and put it in such a precise manner कि 5-6 लाइनों में जज को आपके 4-5 पेजेस की समरी मिल जाए। बट दैट इज अ क्लियर अटेम्प्ट बिकॉज आई ट्रस्ट मी गाइज, अ लॉट ऑफ जजेस, not that I'm saying that your bad luck can be that bad, but a lot of judges get a little lazy। अगर उनको समरी ऑफ आर्ग्यूमेंट में ही मज़ा नहीं आता है, उनको नहीं दिखता है कि बहुत वैल्यू है, कोई बहुत ही हैवीनेस है, तो दे just get very disinterested and they would not want to listen to all the other arguments that will be following. So you want to make sure that your summary of arguments are drafted very very properly। जैसे कि यहाँ पर देखिए, whether the United Province violated Kima sovereignty, I have tried to concisely present it in a very precise manner। The arguments humbly contend against the intentions of Kima's authoritative regime in pursuance of to spread horror around the world and declare themselves to be superior than any other international organization। It's a very precise version of whatever argument that we have presented in detailed later on arguments advanced में। The prior non-compliance by Kima also phrase a big question upon their integrity as a country। Therefore, United Province cannot be alleged or prosecuted for violation of Kimi sovereignty and demands the esteemed country to take appropriate actions, to take appropriate actions against Kimi's dictatorship। So very heavy, intense words I've tried to use for emphasizing upon the heaviness of the issue, the importance that I'll be bringing forward while we'll be डीलिंग विद दोज पर्टिकुलर इश्यूज. जैसे कि आप ये देखिए, इन्होंने भी इश्यूज रेज्ड चार लिए हैं. उसमें इशू नंबर वन, समरी ऑफ आर्ग्यूमेंट वेरी कंसाइजली. दे हैव ऑल्सो tried mentioning sections and playing around with the facts a little bit, so you can make it a mix of both, or you can just do whatever you think best would fit the situation. इशू नंबर टू में भी इन्होंने यही करा है, इशू नंबर थ्री में भी यही करा है, इशू फोर में भी यही करा है. मेमोरियल ऑफ एपलेंट. नाउ हियर इट इज वेयर द रियल डील स्टार्ट्स. हियर यू कैन सी कि रिटन सबमिशन स्टार्ट हो चुकी हैं. इशू नंबर वन, दिस इज समथिंग दैट विल बी बेसिकली, अभी तक जो जो सब चल रहा था ना, दैट वाज बेसिकली फाउंडेशनल फॉर योर आर्ग्यूमेंट्स. You were just setting the base right. This is where the real fight starts. This is where all the questions, all the hardships, all the preparations that you will put, the long hours, the research and everything, वो सब, ये सब जो मैंने आपको पहले बताया तो बहुत जल्दी हो जाता है. This is something that will really require a lot of hard work, because each and every word, each and every sentence will require a lot of research, a lot of oral practice, a lot of precision, you know. It has to be convincing. So let me take you to mine. आर्ग्यूमेंट्स एडवांस्ड. सो इस हम लोगों ने भी फॉर्मेटिंग बहुत ही प्रिसाइजली रखने की कोशिश करी थी. अभी आपको कुछ कुछ unevenness, symmetry सही नहीं लग रही होगी. This is because I have actually, we converted into PDF and then we converted it back into Word to make some changes to present in front of you. We had to maintain some confidentiality, but you must understand कि precision and formatting is very important. जैसे कि आप यहाँ पर देख सकते हैं, इट इज हम्बली सबमिटेड द एंटायर साउथ कीमा सी हियर इन रेफर टू एस एस के एस. ये देखो, एप्रीवेशन की लिस्ट हम लोग ने बनाई नहीं है तो यही मेंशन कर दिया. इकोनॉमिक ई जेड, जैसे कि यूएन क्लॉज हम लोग ने नहीं बनाई. अगर बनाई होती तो हम लोगों को बार बार लिखने की जरूरत ही नहीं थी. आप सीधे ही एस के एस लिख देते साउथ कीमा सी की जगह एस के एस, अगर लिस्ट ऑफ एप्रीवेशन बनाया होता तो. फिर उसके बाद under the jurisdiction Khima as per 200 nautical miles laid down under the United Nation Convention on Law of Sea. According to the rule, coastal states can only claim territory up to end of EEZ, economically exclusive zone. ये you will have to refer to cases and statutes very clearly. Researching के लिए I'll do a specific video, बट मैं आपको एक बेसिक आइडिया दे दूं तो यूएन क्लॉज, ये जो कन्वेंशन ऑफ सी लॉज है ना, इसके अंदर इकोनॉमिकली एक्सक्लूसिव जोन होता है. वो क्या होता है, मतलब हर कंट्री के पास एक राइट होता है कि वो अपने लैंड जुरिसडिक्शन एक्सरसाइज कर सकती है, पर वो लिमिटेड होता है, विच इज बेसिक मोस्टली 200 nautical miles. In the decision of the permanent court of arbitration, see, so I footnoted this also. What what वो कौन सा डिसीजन, परमानेंट कोर्ट ऑफ आर्बिट्रेशन का ये वाला डिसीजन, ये कहाँ से मिला मुझे, ये साइटेशन मुझे मेरे हमारे इससे मिला है. सी दीज आर द स्पेशल अग्रीमेंट. यहाँ पर मैंने परमानेंट कोर्ट ऑफ आर्बिट्रेशन का हमारा एक जज था ना, पीसीएस डिसीजन, उसको साइट करा. Moving on, in the decision, Philippines Convention, the decision was rejected by the Kimis government. This is a highly ये क्या है आप समझ गए ना, ये बेसिकली डायमेंशन समझा है. डायमेंशन किस डेट का था और किस jurisdiction में एक्सरसाइज हो रहा है. दिस इज हाईली distasteful, considering the fact that the Kima is amongst the P5 nation P5 is basically a group of very powerful nations, United Nations Security Council, and also a signatory of UN clause. This showcases utmost disrespect towards international law and established international organizations. Kima is under the legal obligation of following internationally accepted norms, despite the despite the general angst amongst the claimant countries in SKS against the coercive attitude of Kima, it has been controlling the sea administratively. So what am I trying to do? Trying to put down South Kima Sea. How am I trying to do that? Quoting statements, quoting clauses, giving international examples, and laws and case laws, exactly how you would present in front of the court. It has to sound like a convincing convincing change of arguments, one supporting the other. The latter should be in development of the prior, and it should collectively flow through in a way, through a channel that would feed into the judge's mind, that why is my argument strong? Why is it that you should do as am I claiming in my prayer section? You get it, right? ये सारे arguments you want to go through it, you can definitely. Uh, so we have tried to mention everything in very much detail. More or less, it's the same across all the issues and all the sections. I'll not be taking you through the entire memorial as if this is the real uh, uh, problem that you will be getting. ऐसा नहीं होगा. Your problem is going to be very very different from this, obviously. But you have to make sure that you cite properly, you structure properly, you take help of as much resources, as much means as you can. You uh, you follow an approach where you take about, see, you know, just have a look at this. I'll just write it down for you. Issue, क्या प्रॉब्लम है, ये सब ये समझना इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. फैक्चुअल प्ले, दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि उस जो जिस प्रॉब्लम से आप डील कर रहे हो, जिस क्वेश्चन से आप डील कर रहे हो, वो फैक्चुअली कैसे इन्फ्लुएंस हो रही है, कौन से फैक्चुअल फैक्ट्स हैं आपके पास जो इस पर्टिकुलर इशू को अफेक्ट कर रहे हैं, लीगल स्टैंडिंग क्या है उस इशू की, कौन से फैक्टर्स हैं ऐसे जो लीगली अफेक्ट हो रहे हैं, कौन से फैक्टर्स हम लोगों को कंसीडर करने चाहिए, कौन से स्टैट्यूट के अंदर वो हैं. केस लॉ सपोर्ट, केस लॉ सपोर्ट ध्यान रखना इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि कौन कौन से ऐसे प्रायर केसेस रहे हैं जिनके जिनको जिनको बैक करके यू आर क्लेमिंग अ सर्टेन observation, you are claiming something, you are asking the court to act as it has before, basically. uh, you must understand as a law student कि केस लॉ की कितनी वैल्यू होती है. तो अगर पिछला कोई केस लॉ किसी एक पर्टिकुलर जजमेंट, किसी एक सिचुएशन, किसी एक सिमिलर प्रॉब्लम में अगर कोर्ट ने इस पर्टिकुलर ऑब्जर्वेशन को निकाला है, तो उसके पीछे कोई ना कोई रीजनिंग ज़रूर होगी. वो रीजनिंग आपको यूज़ करके अपनी लीगल स्टैंडिंग, फैक्चुअल प्ले और केस लॉ सपोर्ट कलेक्टिवली सिंक्रनाइज करने हैं. इट शुड this is something which is additional. You can do this. I personally do this. International standing क्या है इस पर्टिकुलर चीज़ पे, क्या ऐसे कोई इंटरनेशनली इंसिडेंट्स हुए हैं, या फिर ऐसे कोई इंटरनेशनली स्टेटमेंट्स पास करे गए हैं जो आपके इश्यूज को या आपकी आर्ग्यूमेंट को सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं. दैट इज समथिंग दैट यू शुड ऑलवेज लुक फॉर. इट रियली हेल्प्स लीव एन इम्पैक्ट अपॉन द जज. उसके बाद यू जस्ट in totality, everything that I have mentioned so far, it should collectively sound, come across, and absolutely make complete reasons and sense to the judge ears, mind and soul. They should be able to by the end of your each issue, they should be convinced, you yourself should be convinced that there's no standpoint, there's no stone that I've left unturned, there is no weak point that I'm trying to ignore. You just mold any issues anyhow. उसके बाद इन सबको कलेक्टिवली आप साथ में रख के क्या करेंगे? प्रेजेंट योर स्टैंड पॉइंट, आप का क्या मानना है, नॉट पर्सनली, इन सबको बेस में रख करके यू व्हाट डू यू वांट, व्हाट डू यू आर आस्किंग द कोर्ट टू डू। अगर आप ये मेमोरियल देखेंगे तो कई जगह मैंने यहाँ पर टुवर्ड्स द एंड ये सब ऐसे मेंशन करा होगा। It is considered as a common heritage of all mankind and is beyond any nation's jurisdiction. State can conduct activities in these areas as long as they are peaceful, for peaceful purposes such as transit, marine exercise, etc. etc. ये देखिए कई जगह पर मैंने यहाँ पर मेंशन करा होगा कि क्या मैं मांग रहा हूँ कोर्ट से, which specifically in a very concise manner you do mention in your prayer section. यहाँ तक तो आप समझ गए होंगे. You can take a screenshot of this and refer to this while you're drafting. This is a mindset that you can always question yourself at. This also helps you while you're preparing for your oral arguments. फिर हम लोग आ जाते हैं प्रेयर पे. प्रेयर हमारी क्या है? Prayer is basically what are we asking the court to do? What is exactly that we want to be implemented and executed on the part of the state, the countries, the parties that are involved, and what is our point of view in this. जैसे कि हम मेरा तो आप देख ही लो, आप इन लोगों का भी देख लो. See, so this is the language that is followed everywhere. You will find it consistent more or less, mostly in all the memorials. Whereof in the light of issues raised, argument advanced, and authority cited. As I was telling you before, this is the sequence that is being usually followed. It is humbly prayed that this honorable court may be pleased to declare that Elizabeth is guilty of whatever, the investigation was free, वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह, everything, and it should end in such a manner. And pass, ये आप copy paste कर लो, and pass any other order, direction or relief that it may deem fit in the interest of justice, fairness, equity and good conscience. For this act of kindness, the appellant, as in duty bound, shall forever pray. So mine was a little different. My end was a little different. Pass any other direction, all of which is humbly prayed, counsel for appellant. That's it. That is how we ended it. And just let's just have a look at how did they ended it. So here we go. See, it's more or less the same. All of this is more or less the same. And pass any order that they deem fit. क्योंकि आप कोर्ट से सिर्फ इतना नहीं चाहते ना कि आप वो वही करें जो आप उनसे कह रहे हो. अगर आप कोर्ट केस जीत गए तो ये 3 चीजें हैं जो कोर्ट कर दे. नहीं, कोर्ट वो भी करेगा जो उसके हिसाब से सही है, जो इंटेग्रिटी, इक्वालिटी एंड द फंडामेंटल्स ऑफ जस्टिस को अपलिफ्ट करने के लिए इज एसेंशियल. So this was our statement. This was the entire Moot Code memorial drafting that I've explained to you right now. So yes, this is more or less everything that I think that you should understand, that you should know about drafting. So guys, you must understand this. This is not a very tiring or tedious process. मूड कोड ड्राफ्टिंग लगता है कि when you do it for the first time you feel like there's a lot that you will have to deal with. There's a lot of research that you'll have to go. Research का section और oral preparation के section पे I'll be taking one another video. But इसमें you must understand कि यही चीजें हैं that are more or less going to be important for you while you are drafting your mood court memorials. इसके अलावा I don't think so there's anything that I am aware of would want you to know. I remember this one particular incident from my uh, moot court competitions. So I was presenting my issue number two. I think I was the second speaker. I was ending the issues, and उसके बीच में I was quoting some case laws जिसको मैंने फैक्ट्स में फैक्ट इश्यूज एडवांस में बहुत ज़्यादा फ्लैश आउट नहीं करता, काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें उसके बारे में मेंशन नहीं थी. एक स्पेसिफिक लाइन थी कि ये ऑब्जर्वेशन था और ये पर्टिकुलर केस में ऐसा हुआ था, तो इस कोर्ट ने कहा था. आई जस्ट सेड इट. और इसके बाद जज द जज wanted to know more about it. Obviously, I was prepared enough. I had read on it, but I did not know enough on it for me to convince the judge that how is this specific case, how is the scenario and factual statements in this case are irrelevant for what we are in dealing with right now. So it is important for you also कि आप समझें कि कैसे ये सारी चीज़ें होती हैं, कैसे you should go about treating everything just right. So you know these are things that you should understand. ऐसे बहुत सारे incidents हैं. I can tell you a number of them that we'll be dealing with while we are doing the uh, oral rounds का preparation. उसी में I'll collectively refer to research also because that is not something that will require a lot of time. So here it goes. Thank you.